when we were going to do, there was a graduate recruitment that we wanted to do, and all the senior management were talking about the next set of graduate recruitment. And because the world is going digital, because now, so a lot of things, when I started out in finance, we used to do a lot of things maybe manually, or we used to like, so I'll use what we call accounts payable as an example. They used to hire account payable assistants, account payable administrators then, and everything. In places like Irish Life now, account payable is done by a bot. Do all of you know what a bot is? So our account payable is actually done using technology. They've actually built some kind of robotics to actually do an accounts payable. So they never hire account payables in places like Irish Life. Do you understand? And that is how the world is actually changing. Technology, all the things that we used to do manually before, technology is beginning to do it. So we were saying to ourselves that rather than employ somebody that did accounting and finance, are we better off employing somebody that did computer science who wants to go into finance? Because what that person comes with is they comes with that technology knowledge. They come with that knowledge to be able to build reports. So things like data science have become a big thing as well across every industry. Do you understand? So while for me, when I wanted to make the switch, I had to go back and start my professional exams and begin to look for a job. For some of you, it's actually going to be very easy, because now what people, a lot of industries have become open to the fact that it doesn't matter what you do your first degree in, it is your skill set, your transferable skill set, your soft skills that actually matter. The likes of Ernest and Young are even saying that first degree is not even important anymore. They're open to taking on people that don't even have a first degree. It doesn't mean that you should not go to uni, but it's just the fact that the world is now open. Why? Because we're beginning to learn that for some people, I mean, I worked in a startup with a guy at a point in time. He never had a computer science degree, but what that guy could build, what he could code, people that had computer science degrees could not actually do that. So which is what I was talking about. What are you using your time for as a 13-year-old? If you really want to go into building stuff, using technology, maybe you want to be a coder, computer science, your mates at age 13, they're already coding. Do you understand? One of my young ones wrote a book. The person that did the illustration for the book was a 13-year-old, and she actually earned money doing that illustration for the book. So what are you using your time to do, really? So somebody's asking, how do you suggest we start a budget, and how do we know what companies are good to invest in? Now, starting a budget, I'll give you the simplistic way to start a budget. Make a list. I know we all know how to use Excel. So make a list of what you spend your money on every month. Do you understand? As in everything that you spend your money on every month, you can make a list in Excel, and then you can then begin to put how much you spent on that. Now, for a lot of you, what I always say to people, the easiest way to start a budget, to be honest, is do most of your expenses on your card. Because if you spend most of your expenses on your card, what you find out is you can actually see what you spent your money on. Now, a lot of young people, I know a lot of you have Revolut. Revolut is one of the best things that has happened in this our generation. Because what Revolut does, it gives you a breakdown of what you spent your money on, where you spent your money actually, how much you spent on food, how much you spent on clothes, how much you spent on entertainment, and then you can begin to see. So if you don't have a Revolut account, maybe you should open a Revolut account as well. Transfer all the money that you want to spend, which is what I do from my bank account into my Revolut account, and then use my Revolut to pay for things. So that way I can actually see what I'm spending my money on. But then I try to do a lot of my spending using my card. So that actually helps me to analyze what I've actually spent my money on, rather than go the whole Excel sheet and begin to enter it in and manually. And the different apps as well, free apps that come with how to budget your expenses. There are a lot of free apps on App Store, on Google Play Store. Just look for one that you know that you're comfortable using. How do we know what companies are good to invest in? That's a good question. And there is not one right answer. First of all, I always say to people that you need to determine what kind of investor you want to be. So for me, I like to invest in courses that have some kind of social impact. So that's where I start with. So I look at, okay, let me see what companies are creating a social impact. So a good one would be, for me, I might decide, okay, I want to invest my money in a company that is dedicated to reducing pollution. So the reason Tesla is making a lot of money is because Tesla played on that whole these new Tesla cars, they're good for the environment, they reduce carbon dioxide and all that kind of stuff and everything. So those are some kind of input. So for me, a good place to start sometimes is maybe begin to invest in the companies that your values are kind of aligned. But then in doing that, you have to look at the financial, how successful that company has been financially over the years. So there's some stocks that when people invest in, they know that the returns might not be high, but they're not going to lose their money. So the likes of the Coca-Cola stocks, because we know that Coca-Cola has been around for a very long time. They're not going to wake up and go out of business tomorrow. But then because they're also a stable company, the returns might not be that high. So you might not necessarily lose the money that you put in, but your returns would grow gradually. Some of the strong stocks that we've seen recently are the likes of Microsoft, Apple, Google stocks are very strong as well. They keep growing as well. So what you need to do is to research the company, research the maybe the last couple of years, the growth of the company, going to the stock exchange. So another thing, actually, the easiest way is invest in companies that are listed on what we call the S&P 500. Or your so the S&P 500 has the only companies that are listed on the S&P 500 are the 500 strongest companies basically over in the world are the ones that are listed. So you know that they are actually growing companies. Some might drop off, some might, but a lot of times because it's it's diversified, you're not necessarily investing your money in just one company. You're investing your money in 500 companies. So what that portfolio is actually diversified, basically. So that means that there's always a tendency that if one company is not doing well, one company is doing well. So that kind of covers up for the losses that you're actually investing your money in. But a good place to start is what courses do you want to invest your money in? Go to the company websites. A lot of times, a lot of these companies have to put their financial reports on their website anyway. So you go to what we call the investor relations section of the companies. So there you find the financial information. So you can look at it and say, okay, how have they done in the last 3 to 5 years? Basically, yeah. So Pastor put it, the ethical investment, exactly what we call ESG investments, ethical, social, and investments. Would you recommend drop shipping as a primary source of income? Primary source of income. Now, if you're going to do drop shipping as a primary source of income, one thing I want you to know is that you have to build your market yourself. And when I mean by market, your paying customers have to come from you. Do you understand? So marketing becomes key. So drop shipping, the company that is drop shipping for you is not going to do your marketing for you. They're not going to look for your customers for you. So if you know that you have what it takes to build your customer base, you have what it takes to actually build that market share that is going to sustain you. Why not? If not, it's like setting up a shop, basically. It's dropshipping is the same thing as setting up a physical shop, but the only thing with dropshipping is that you take out that cost of having to keep stock in your house, because whether you like it or not, stock actually costs money. You take out that the stress of having to go and post it out to your customer. So the dropshipping company handles all of that for you. So they take the stress of logistics out of it for you. They take all of that out of it for you. But it's still up to you to build your market share. It's still up to you to build your customer base. So it can become a primary source of income as long as you put in the hard work to actually market and advertise whatever product that you're actually drop shipping. What I found out with drop shipping as well is we can become very lazy as well, because you're not seeing the stock physically in your house. Sometimes you're not pushed to begin to market and begin to build that market share, begin to build that customer base. Meanwhile, if you wake up every morning and you can see those products in front of me, you're like, oh my God, that is my money. I've invested money in this stock so that I know I have to find a way to actually sell those products. But as long as you can get that balance right, then that's fine. And I suppose if it's going to be a primary source of income, and you know that if money doesn't come in, then you won't be able to pay your bills. I mean, that would be a driver in itself.
Thank you. If I may ask another question, something a bit more simple now, I guess. So I'm really taking interest in this investing, especially now with the S&P 500, and now that knowing that there's an actual list of strong companies that you can expect good returns from. So if I wanted to invest right now, as in starting now, how do I go about it? Is there a website I register with and then start putting my money there? Like, how do I start investing
What
into a company?
do you want to do, a company, or do you want to do a series of companies?
A series of companies sounds better.
Okay, how old are you?
I'm 21, man.
Okay, 21, that's fine. Okay. Go and register on Digiro. That's the easiest way.
Sorry?
Go and register on Digiro. That's the easiest way to do it. Because what Digiro,
Okay, yeah, you mentioned that earlier.
register on Digiro. Number one, their commission is also very, very low. Do you understand? So Digiro is registered in the Netherlands. Do you understand? So the Irish equivalent of Digiros are all these good body stockbrokers, David stockbrokers, but the Irish ones are actually they're very expensive in terms of their commissions. Do you understand? So unless you have a lot of money to invest when you're starting out, their commissions can be quite high. But with Digiro, they do everything online, so they don't have a physical bill, well, as such. Do you understand? Obviously their cost is lower because of the way they've been set up. They've been set up as an online. Do you understand? So register with Digiro. Digiro will open an account for you. They have a list of stocks. Do you have a Revolut account?
I do, but not active at all.
Okay, you need to activate your Revolut account. Revolut has a list of stocks as well, and it actually gives you the history of each stocks, and you can actually invest on your Revolut app as well. So you didn't know that?
I didn't know. I opened it because I saw that it was, a lot of people were claiming it was useful, but I didn't see much use in it. And also
of your budgeting, analyzing your expenses, investing, it does it gives you that opportunity to do everything.
Yeah, you already hooked me in with how you can analyze your spending and what you're spending on entertainment or food, because that is true that if you are keeping track of what you're spending and what you're spending things on, you can manage your money better.
Because the likes of Tesco actually buy analysis from Revolut.
I didn't know that.
That's how powerful Revolut is. So what Tesco to do is they can analyze how many people spent what on what product. So if they say, okay, toothpaste, how many people use a Revolut card to buy toothpaste? What brand of toothpaste did people buy the most? Do you understand? So that also helps them to make stocking information. What kind of products are people buying the most? What is driving their profit and everything?
Yeah, I'll activate mine and start being more useful on it then. I didn't know it had that power. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Can I just jump in, Ma, and ask a question? Well, I know there's Revolut, because I have Revolut personally. What do you think about Monzo or Sterling Bank?
Monzo is equally good, but I think Revolut's analytics is actually better than Monzo. Do you understand?
Okay.
But I mean, if you want to do Monzo, you can also do Monzo. But I found that in recent times, Revolut is a lot more advanced when it comes to the analytics compared to Monzo. Do you understand? But I'm not even sure what the difference in transaction cost is, which is something you might have to maybe look at as well. So Monzo might be cheaper than Revolut just because but I think they're competitors of each other, so it doesn't really matter. For me, when it comes to banking, is whoever you're comfortable with. So beyond obviously Revolut having analytics that works as well, sometimes customer service might be the one thing that might draw you to one bank over the other as well. Do you understand? So I would say to people that when you look at Ireland, AIB is probably the most technological advanced bank. Do you understand? But then a different bank might have better customer service, and because of that, I might decide, okay, you know what, I would rather bank with that bank because they have better customer service. Do you understand? So in terms of when you have customer queries, if there's something wrong with your account, who do you think is more likely to answer you first? Do you understand? Yeah. So
yes, ma'am.
So sometimes that's really as opposed to anything else.
One of my other questions is, let's say you're starting a company. I know you said that for us that are more business inclined, how do we find the capital, to start our businesses?
First of all, when it comes to raising capital for a business, people always say that the first set of people that should be investing in is first of all from your savings. Do you understand? And then after your savings is your friends and family, right? After your friends and family,
Mm-hmm.
some people will say, um, get a bank loan, and then after your bank loan comes kind of like your angel investors. Do you understand? Now the reason they put it in this order, and you don't have to do it in any particular order, and to be honest with you, it doesn't always follow that particular order. People will say that if you wanted to start a business and you didn't have savings, that means you're not financially responsible. Do you understand? So if you have not proven to me that you can be financially responsible to put money aside to invest in your own business, and as well, if you don't have your own personal money to risk on your business, why should I give you my own money to risk on your business? Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
That's fine. Second thing is when friends and family, people always say that if your friends and family can trust you enough to give you money to invest in a business, you have some form of integrity. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Unless, of course, they're doing charity. The third one is a bank loan. What a bank loan signals to investors is the fact that you are credit worthy. Do you understand? The fact that you have some kind of credit footprint. So for the bank, if the bank trusts you with money, that means you have a good credit rating. And then your angel investors now come in. You understand what I'm saying? Before you now begin to but it doesn't always follow that order, to be honest with you. It's just that for small businesses, sometimes it's easier to raise money from, because the truth about it, what investors are looking for when they want to invest in your businesses, how are they going to make their money back? Do you understand? So what are the things you need to prove? I have enough market to make a profit that will make it possible for you to make your money back. Because investors are not charity. They're not giving money to charity. They're giving money because they want to make their money back. Do you understand? And if they were not financially responsible in the first place, they wouldn't even have the money to invest in your own business. So the things that you need to be looking at before you even begin to raise money is, one, you would have tested the market. So because you have to be able to show to an investor that I have tested the market. This is how many products I've sold. You don't even have to make a profit on the products that you sold. Do you understand? But being able to show to an investor that I have a product, a service that I can sell to 1,000 people, and that 1,000 people can grow. So there's potential for the market for the business to also grow. Do you understand? Because that's how they're going to make their own money back. So first of all, the idea is valid. Two, there's a market. That is, there's willingness. People are actually going to pay for the product or for the service. Three, I've invested my own money. So I have taken a risk on myself. So you can't ask people to take a risk on you when you're not taking a risk on yourself. And how do you show people that you're taking a risk on yourself? Is by investing your money, not only your time, but also your money in it. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of obviously being able to play around with people's money, do you understand? It's easy for friends and family to forgive your debt when you're starting out. And what I always say to people is, a lot of people, before they get it right with one business, would have failed in a couple of businesses. What you also don't want to do is collect money from so many angel investors or so many external investors, and you failed so many times in business. When you now get that one idea that it's going to be very successful, because you've already used up that good credit or that brand equity, do you understand? Then it makes it difficult for you to go back to them and say, okay, you know what, this time around, I'm very sure this is going to succeed. Give me your money. You understand what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
That's why there has to be a process. There has to be an order, unless, of course, you get into the market and you find yourself, oh my God, my product will actually sell to like 5,000 people, and it's obvious. Do you understand? Then it becomes very easier to approach somebody and say, you know what, I've tested the market. This is data that shows that this product is going to be successful, and I can sell it to 5,000 people. Give me your money. If you live in Ireland as well, I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for businesses in Ireland. I always tell people when I work with them, a lot of people come to me and they've not started with their local enterprise, what we call the local enterprise in Ireland or Enterprise Ireland. They have tons and tons and tons and tons of help that they offer to businesses. I mean, even from a mentoring point of view, from a consulting point of view. And once you register with them and you start working with them as well, they can always point you in the direction of where you can actually raise money from. Your school alumni, and I'm going to say this, and for young people, your network, your school alumni as well, is one of the easiest places to raise money from as well. So what are you doing with your school network? What are you doing with your school alumni? For one of my businesses, I raised the very first few money that I raised it within my MBA network. Do you understand? So your school alumni is very, very important. What are you doing with that network? What are you doing with that alumni? Because that's a very good place for you to also raise money, as long as you have what we call personal equity as well, which is when you've had integrity, you're loyal, they know the kind of person that you are. Because when your alumni is giving you money, most of the time they're not giving you money based on the idea, they're giving you money based on you. And to be honest, a lot of investors as well, outside of the idea, what they do is invest in people. So, and you hear investors talk about, oh, yeah, the idea was good, but I wasn't necessarily investing in the idea. I was actually investing.
No, leave it.
I was actually investing
I'm going to turn that
in the person. Do you understand? And that's where you having integrity is actually very, very key as well. Not only from a financial point of view, but also as a person. So if you say, oh, I'm going to show up at 8 a.m. and then you start showing up at 10 a.m., they're already in the, okay, this person, you're not a serious person. So what is your testimony as well? What kind of person are you? Who do people say you are? Who do your close friends say you are? Because sometimes even raising money, even if when your business idea is sound, but if people can't trust you as a person, people might not necessarily give their money to you. And the funny thing about angel investors is after they've done their due diligence on your business, they would actually go and do a due diligence on you as a person. Funny story, last year I got a call from somebody in the Netherlands. They do impact investment. I'd worked with them on something before. And they were like, oh, somebody's deck, the person was looking to raise money, landed on our table. And we see that you have a friend in common with the person on LinkedIn. Can you help us find out A, B, C, and D from the person that is actually your friend? And I had to call the person, okay, fine. What do you know about this person and everything? So people are watching you, and investors that are going to give you money will do their own due diligence outside of what you say to them. So living a life of integrity is actually key as well.
Thank you very much, Ma. That answers a lot of questions from me. What I wanted to ask, what is your opinion on, businesses and the Black community? A lot of people are now, because of the Black Lives Matter, a lot of people are now saying invest in Black owned businesses. But I see that when I was younger, that a lot of people, or Black people especially, have this mentality that they don't want business to be successful more than them and things like that. So what is your opinion on how we can combat that mentality that our maybe parents have been raised with and things like that?
So one thing I would say is the world is actually, the world has changed. And even Nigeria, as you know it, which is where a lot of our parents are from, has changed. There's so many successful businesses in Nigeria built by young people that have raised money. Now, Black lives do matter. One thing I would say is in all of this Black Lives Matter, one of the reasons why we are faced with so much racism and so much disdain and everything that is happening is because, one, we are not united as a race. Two, we are not financially successful as a race. Do you understand? So you're not going to see Chinese lives matter because somehow the Chinese people have managed to pull themselves out of a lot of this where we are stuck. Do you understand? They're a lot more united than we are, especially to their own kind, to their own people. I remember when I was studying engineering in King's College, University of London, I used to tell people that the only reason a Chinese person will be your friend in class is if there's no other fellow Chinese to be their friend in class. And the moment another Chinese person shows up, they're not going to be your friend again. Do you understand? So the truth about it is we have issues of, well, there's, we have a complex issue as Black people because of what we've been through. Do you understand? And that has affected a lot of decisions that we've made. Two, I think we're a race that we like to compete. We like to show off. So because we like to show off a lot, it kind of brings about some kind of unhealthy competition, which is where that whole, oh, my neighbor must not be better than me, so therefore I am not going to buy from a Black business. But the truth about it is, for Black lives to begin to matter, we need to get to a point where our economy, as a Black economy, is successful. Do you understand? So we need to have some level of prosperity where people begin to respect us. The Bible says something that a poor man, even his neighbors, is in the Bible. A poor man, even his neighbors, they do not like him. It's as simple as that. Do you understand? So a lot of these things are biblical. The problem with Black people is we need to become mentally successful, financially successful, in every sense of it. We need our mindset. We need to have a mindset shift, which is a paradigm shift. Do you understand? But then we need to begin to love each other. So I always say to them in church, when the Bible says that we should love your neighbor as yourself, the problem is the fact that we don't even, a lot of us struggle with even loving ourselves, I think, as well, which makes it very difficult for us to actually love our neighbor as well. So, but the truth about it, change starts with me and starts with you, Simi. Do you understand? So
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, oh yeah, maybe our parents' generation had these issues. We're the change that the world needs. Do you understand? We're all protesting Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, but if we don't go back and do things differently and begin to earn that respect, do you understand? You need to be
Yes, ma'am.
and begin to earn that respect, then nothing is actually going to change. The Bible says that the borrower is at the mercy of the lender. So the borrower is a slave to the lender. Do you understand? As long as we keep looking to these people to give us handouts, they're never going to respect us. Our lives are never going to matter to them. Why? Because we are slaves to them. Because that's what the Bible says. A lot of these things are biblical. Do you understand? And then we can start saying that, oh yeah, but in the Bible says that this and that and everything. Yeah, we can say that, but at the same time, we need to correct ourselves as well. Do you understand? They always say the only thing that you can change is yourself. Do you understand? So when you want respect, even our own parents tell us that want respect, you have to earn respect. So how do we earn respect? Do you understand? It's by being successful. We should invest in Black businesses. You know why? Because it's what these white people have is what we call a ladder. Do you understand? When you're starting a business with a white person, I was saying it to when I was talking to the youth last week, the fact that let's say I'm starting a business in Ireland. Sometimes I cannot go all in because maybe I have children and my children don't have grandparents that I can drop my children with. So I still have to pay for childcare. Do you understand? Meanwhile, a fellow Irish person has maybe uncle, auntie, grandparents that can help them with some things, drop their children so they don't have to pay for childcare. Do you understand? So once there's some things that you don't have to worry about, you guys decide, okay, I want to face my business full time and I want to run a business. Why? Because there's some of my needs that I know that people can kind of step in and help me with. But sometimes we don't have that support system here. And this is where, as a church as well, we need to start teaching the right things, and we need to start, the church has to take forefront of this, because one of the things that the Bible talks about is love, love, love. We need to start showing the world, or we need to start showing the Black community what it means to love, what it means to show love, what it means to step in and be your brother's keeper, what the fruits of the Holy Spirit are. We need to be able to teach the world that. We need to be able to teach the Black community that, basically. So the first, by investing in each other's businesses, but also not, another thing I found out, and that's why when I work with my clients, I always tell them that, look, when they come to me, I think that if you're building a business and you're only building a business for African people to be buying in Ireland, I am not inclined to work with you, because what I found out that, how many are we really, to be honest, in Ireland? Do you understand? They say about 32,000, 33,000, whatever. By the time and we all know that in every household, children are more than adults. So let's cut out 50% of that 32,000 for argument's sake. That's already 16,000. Do you understand? Because we're cutting out the children. And then we already have a father and a mother in most households. If you want to discount that as well, you end up with about 8,000 paying customers, really. But then all of us are doing the same kind of businesses. Please, how many people are going to buy from you? How can a business then be successful? So when people come to me, I'm like, let's look at your business and let's see how it can transcend, first of all, the Black people in Ireland. So you're building for Ireland as a whole, and then how exportable is it actually? But then we need that change in mindset shift where you're not competing against your fellow brother or your fellow sister. Do you understand? We all have our journeys. And I also believe that once you begin to understand your purpose in life as well, it takes out that whole I'm competing with somebody as well. So God has created all of us with a purpose in mind. I mean, all of us have the purpose that we need to actually fulfill in life. And when you understand your purpose, when you understand the giftings and the talent that God has given you, when you understand what God has called you to do, then you're able to follow your own path. You're able to follow your destiny. You understand? With a passion, with God. And that way, no matter what your brother or your sister is doing, you congratulate them, you rejoice with them, but then you're focused on your own journey, you're focused on where God is taking you to because you understand purpose, you understand why God has actually created you. And that is where as a young person growing up, regardless of what business you want to do, regardless of what career you want to take, understanding purpose and the fact that you have God should be the one thing that sets you apart. When Paul was saying to Timothy that you should be an example of a believer to the youth, he was talking about your whole life. Do you understand? And that is one thing. Your business, your career is not separate from who you are as a Christian. The Bible is meant to make it better. The Bible is that thing that is meant to make you stand above everybody else that you meet out there, trying to do the same kind of business that you're doing, trying to excel at work. Why? Because people will see that thing that is different, and you would also approach it differently because you know that God has created you for a purpose.
Thank you very much, Ma, because that was loaded. Because I have the exact same mentality as you, and I see all these people saying we should invest in Black-owned businesses, but nobody is actually addressing that mentality or the mindset shift that you said that we need to change. So that's why I brought it up. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Yeah, good afternoon, Ma.
Um,
My name is Wale. I'm kind of joining in the middle of the presentation. I just want to ask about, we've been talking about shares and shares and shares. You talk about SP 500, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the curve for the past 6 months. It seems to be straight. No more. I'm kind of wondering, nothing is actually coming through that. And getting these guys to go through shares is a very, very volatile market at the moment. And I'm kind of having skeptical about getting them involved in this at the moment. Is that other area like franchise you can talk to them about? Real estate, they can come together and get something going. I mean, in terms of real estate, it's just an opinion, like just something I'm just thinking about.
Okay,
Because
so real estate as well. If you're looking at real estate, if you're even looking at real estate in Ireland, do you understand? So I would answer your questions I'll
sorry,
answer all your questions.
just let me finish a bit. I do understand. Like you said, there's no real estate in Ireland.
I didn't say there's no real estate in Ireland. It's real estate in Ireland. I hadn't finished my comment.
Okay, because I'm not talking like Simi just said. I'm not looking. Some of them, I'm not looking at Ireland per se. There's a lot of things they can actually do. Maybe some of them are in England. Some we go to America. Some, if we could just like talk to them about something like real estate, they can do franchise. They can even come together. Like in Ireland at the moment, when it comes to property, is a very, very, very hot area. They can, if they have one of them or three of them can come together and put their money together, they can even buy property and rent it out, and they will be in control of their own finances instead of trying to get their finger burned in shares. And really, I tell you what, I actually get my finger burned in shares.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So one of the things is, so you joined in the middle of the class. So when we started out about talking about the world being a global village. That's number one. Two, we haven't only talked about shares. They asked about the different kind of passive income that they can put their money into, and real estate was one of the things that I mentioned. Do you understand? Now, when it also comes to real estate as well, you need to be careful, especially when it comes to renting out as well. Now, when people are investing in real estate, every country, when it comes to real estate, you need to understand how real estate works in every single country because it's actually different. Do you understand? In Ireland, if you bought a house during the boom, right? And Ireland went through recession, and now we're out of recession. Some of the houses that were bought during the boom are never going to appreciate to the value to which those houses were bought. Do you understand? So for everything, which is one of the things that I said today, is you need to be able to do your due diligence, you need to be able to do your research. Now, when it comes to rental income, renting property as well, you need to make sure that the area that you're buying into, that the rent in that place is actually high. And then also remember that real estate investing is a long-term investment plan. Unless you are buying in an area that is actually going to appreciate, and then your capital will also appreciate. So when it comes to real estate investment, there are two types of income or returns that you get. One, you can get rental income. Two, your asset can actually appreciate, and then when you sell, you actually make money because the property has actually appreciated. Do you understand? When it comes to rental income, one thing you need to be careful about when it comes to rental income is how much it actually costs you to maintain the house as well. So the income that you get from rent is not just the rent that people pay you, because you need to remember that you have to maintain the house. So that comes out. If you still have a mortgage on the house as well, that has to come out of that rental income. So it is the profit, right, that is actually the money that they end up sharing. So there's all of that as well. So they also need to obviously go in and go and study what real estate investments actually mean. Now, when it comes to real estate, I've studied the market. Ireland doesn't appreciate as fast as the places like in UK. Actually, real estate investment is a good thing to go into in the UK, because in the UK, house prices has always appreciated regardless of, they never really had the whole boom and bust that we have when it comes to Irish property. So sometimes when I'm advising people to go into real estate, I always tell people maybe look at the UK. The world has become a global village rather than even look at Ireland. Now, if you want to go into real estate investment, even in Ireland at the moment, it depends on where you want to buy. So if you're buying for rent, you have to make sure that where you're buying, you might not really, you might not be able to buy cheap, because you have to look at where you would get people that are sensible enough to rent that property. Do you understand? So should I buy an apartment? Should it be close to the lowest? Should it be close to the train? Do I want to take in a young family? Do I want to take in workers? Who's more likely to pay my money? I used to have a rented property before somewhere in Dublin, but where it was, the area wasn't that conducive. Everybody we got in was on social. At the end of the social, would give them the money, they won't pay the rent. I was paying 2 or 3 mortgages just to keep that house going. So there is no kind of investment that doesn't have its own pitfalls. When it comes to things like stocks, which is one of the things I said to them, I said some companies are very, very they're very stable. So your returns might not be as high. Your returns are very low. But at the same time, so they were asking about passive income, examples of passive income. It doesn't mean that you put your money there and then you go to bed and you sleep. You have to follow the market. You have to follow the trends, because stocks might rise today and they might crash tomorrow. And as they're following the market is actually very, very important. You have to re-educate yourself. When it comes to franchises as well, they have to do their research. So with franchises as well, you're either paying a franchising fee on revenue, on profit. You have to understand how the franchise actually makes their money from you. Many of the franchises that make a lot of money are the most expensive ones to actually get into. But there's nothing that is stopping 3, 4, 5 people to buying into one franchise. But they also need to understand how they generate their profit from that franchise as well, which is where the education actually comes into it as well. And then one thing I'll be saying to people that if you 5 or 6 of you, 3 of you are coming together to do a business, please get a lawyer involved. Draft out a legal contract. There's no such thing as the person is my friend or the person is my family, because you can get burnt, which is one of the things that our parents did, which is they got into businesses with family members, got into business with friends, but there was never no legal contract and everybody got burnt in the end. Stocks is just one way to earn money. And like I said to them, they have to follow the market. There's no such thing as passive income. They have to make sure that they're doing their due diligence. A company can just crash tomorrow. And that's just, and that is being honest and everything. But there's some stable companies, but the problem with stable companies is your returns are very low. That's why they're stable. But then there's some companies that maybe you buy cheap because it's the beginning of their growth or they're in startup phase. But you also have to be very careful, because those are the kind of companies that will crash tomorrow. So which is where the whole due diligence is. And even with real estate, you have to do your due diligence. I remember when we wanted to buy, somebody had told us then that we should buy in Adamstown. Adamstown houses were new. They were going for 595,000, I think, in 2008 or so. Then the reason I didn't go is like I didn't want a mortgage that high anyway, so like I'm not even interested. Then those houses were not even built right. A lot of those houses are suffering from mold. Come the during the recession, I know somebody that bought the Adam Time house for 260K, a house that people bought for 595K. Adamstown houses are still not selling for 595 as I talk to you now. So everybody at 595 can never ever recoup their money back if they're not careful. And because those houses were not even built properly as well, and there's already a lot of new developments going around that are even sold for cheaper, that person might not make their money back. So that's the kind of thing as well that you need to look into when it even comes to real estate investment. So you have to understand the geography, you have to understand the area, you have to understand a lot of other things, the economic, all the economic variables that is going to affect pricing going up, all the economic variables that are going to affect rent in that area. So it's not just as simple as that. Real estate investment is a class on its own that they have to do before they actually get into, but they're all options. And what we're talking about today is the different options that they can actually get into. Like I've been born in real estate, but I still believe in real estate investment because I have parents that have succeeded through real estate. So that one experience is not going to put me off real estate. It just means that I have to do my research better. And I might not necessarily go into real estate in Ireland. Am I going to real estate in Nigeria? Am I going to real estate in the UK? It's the same thing with shares. The fact that, oh, you've been born with shares. One of the things you need to do that we need to do, especially for young people, is not to make sure that then we don't make them make decisions based on our experience. But even when we're telling them that we got burnt with shares, is to tell them what we did wrong as well, or what we did right. So that helps them to make an informed decision. It's like saying, oh, I went to university. Some people say that, oh, I had an aunt that used to say that, oh, why get a university education? People that went to school, what they do with it. Do you understand? But that was our own experience. It doesn't mean that there are a lot of people that have a university education that are also very, very successful. So I think it's about educating them, giving them the right tools as well to go out there and to do their research, which is one of the things that I said, even when they were talking about passive income. I said, when people tell you about passive income, it is not passive. It means that you do a lot of work at the beginning a lot of times, which is you educate yourself, you do your research before you invest your money. And then that money begins to yield on its own. But even when the money begins to yield on its own, you still need to make sure that you're following the market and you're following the trend so that you still don't end up losing your money. I ran a franchise before. I gave it up. The reason I gave it up was because that they were earning money. It was a very funny franchise. So for each student that you get, you pay a commission on the student. The problem is when a family ends up with 3 students, they want a discount. But the owner of the franchises did not care about the fact that you are given a discount. They don't discount you the commission that you pay on each student. So that meant that I was working for the franchise and I was taking on all the losses regardless of, do you understand? And even with franchises as well, they have to read the fine print to make sure that the franchisee fee that they're paying or the commission that they're paying as well, is it on revenue? Is it on profit? And all of that as well has to make sense. So there's still that education piece that needs to be done. But yes, like you said, these are all options. Starting their own business from scratch is an option. Somebody asked about drop shipping, it is an option. Stocks is an option. Real estate is an option. Gold is an option. Bitcoin is an option. There's so many things that are options, but with every option that is out there, education is key, research is key, and continuous monitoring of your investment is key, which is why I told them that they should get either an app that helps them to track their investment, or they can do it on Excel. So that way they can continuously monitor their investments as well. Any other question?
If no one else has one, I think I'll put you. Hello, can I be?
Yeah, go on,
yeah. I don't know how much you've touched on it already, or if at all, but I was also querying with one of my other aunties about this. It's about like credit score. So she told me to open up an account in the credit union and put in a significant amount of money there, and then just take out some money and then borrow from them and then pay, but don't spend, and then just pay back so I can build up my credit score so that in the future, if I ever need to borrow, I'm at a better position, if that makes sense. I didn't fully understand that, but that opened my mind anyway to the whole idea of credit score and how we can improve it and how important it is. But I've not done my research to be candid. So, could you educate me on that, please?
Yeah. So when banks want to lend you money, or when you go to apply for a credit card, depending on your age as well, do you understand? They they always say that somebody that has no kind of credit history is a bad creditor, because there's no how they can trust that you can. So there's nothing for them to look at to say that, okay, this person has borrowed money before, and therefore this person can pay it back. Do you understand? So that was what she was saying. She was saying that you should try and begin to build up a credit history. The easiest way to build up a credit history is actually going through your credit union, to be honest, because with credit union you can put in you can save weekly as you want to do, and then they give smaller loans, and then you can pay that loan back. So that gives you some kind of, you're building some kind of digital credit footprint. Sorry. So the only thing I would say to you is sometimes with credit union, your credit history might not necessarily go into your credit history. Do you understand what I mean by that? So credit unions used to be a lot more lenient. I don't know how they are now, where even if you don't pay back a loan, they might not necessarily put it on your credit history as well. So that's the only way you need to be careful. But I suppose one of the easiest ways that we built our credit history as students in those days was in the UK, was that every student account came with a student credit card, obviously with a limit. The limit was very low. And the way a lot of us built our credit history was by using a student credit card and then paying it back. So that actually showed that, okay, you had the ability to actually borrow money and then pay that money back, which is, you're financially responsible enough to know that at the end of the month, I have a debt that I need to pay, and I have enough money to actually pay off that debt. Do you understand? So the credit union is one way. Getting the only thing with credit card and young people is the fact that credit card, the money on the credit card, please, it is not your money. You understand? You're going to pay it back at the end of the month. And also, when you don't pay it back, it actually begins to generate interest. Do you understand? And that means you're paying more on it. So if you're going to have a credit card, you have to be disciplined enough to say, and I think it's also having a goal in mind. So, okay, I'm only taking out a credit card because I want to use it to build my credit history. So I had a friend in those days. She used to use a credit card to do all her food shopping, and then she would make sure she clears it before it begins to accrue interest, before she has to pay interest on it. But what she was using it to do was kind of build up her credit history, basically. Because especially when you go to get a mortgage, banks are a bit wary about somebody that has never ever had any kind of credit and has paid it back, because they're not sure that you're going to be disciplined enough to know that you have to pay your mortgage at the end of the month. Now, the truth about it is, for me, I always say that it's neither here nor there, but that's the criteria, because they have some kind of analytics that they run in-house to actually show if they should give you a mortgage or if they should give you a loan. And those analytics have been there for a very, very long time. They tweak it as we go along, and that has helped them to actually stay in business. But the truth is that somebody has paid back 1 or 2 or 3 credit cards is not even a guarantee that the person is going to pay their debt in the future. But at least it gives them some kind of history and some kind of track record that they can actually follow. So starting with a credit union is fine, but you can also consider getting a credit union, just a credit card, but just make sure that the limit on your credit card as well is not high. So cap it at 300, cap it at 400, and make sure that you're paying, the whole thing back at the end of the month, and you're only using it for what you said you're going to be using it for. So you're not using it um, to live a life like is actually above your means. That's if you know that you need to build some kind of credit history, because obviously maybe you want to buy a mortgage or you want to get out a business loan and other things like that.
Can I just ask, as we're on the subject on credit history and credit report, I know in UK they have the likes of Experian and Credit Report that check your credit score. Yeah. What is the equivalent in Ireland?
In Ireland, they used to use, I know when I worked, we used to use what we call Dun and Bradstreet.
Dun and Bradstreet.
Dun and Bradstreet. I'm coming. Where's my everyone gone to? Yeah. Dun and Bradstreet. You won't type it to everyone. You never even type it to you yourself. Done and Bradstreet. So if
Done.
you can, yeah, if you can put it out there for everyone to see.
No problem. I'll do that now.
Yeah. So it's Dun and Bradstreet, because they used to go and get a Dun and Bradstreet report. So Dun and Bradstreet would be the equivalent in Ireland.
And let's say for those that have lived in UK and then they want to now, but they build their credit score and everything here in the UK, and let's say in the future they now want to now decide that they want to now move back home. How would they now prove that? Do they tell them, oh, look at my bank from the UK, you can see I have a good, or do they have to start all over again?
No, you don't have to start all over again. So that's where the whole experience, because I remember for me as well, when I moved from the UK to Ireland, they probably they probably went through experience. Do you understand? So the experience, it's global anyway. And obviously with the way the world is, I mean, UK was part of the EU before, obviously, the current exit. So they do share information. Do you understand?
Okay.
So the banks do share information. They're allowed to call up your credit history from wherever you're coming from, really, to be honest. So that's not a problem. Post-Brexit, we're not sure what the rules are that they're going to do, but they can always pull up your history within Europe, to be honest. Okay, somebody asks, how do I start investing in gold? For me, there's no hard and fast rule to it. There are, how do I put it now? There are exchanges that allows you to buy gold, but you have to be careful. You have to make sure that they're actually ones that are regulated. To be honest, for me, what I did with my own gold investment was the fact that I bought a lot of the gold that I bought when I was very, very young. And when I went to when I had people going to Dubai, because the gold has appreciated, and in Dubai they actually weigh gold. And I'm not really I'm not a gold person really. I don't wear jewelry like that and everything. I tend to resell them back when I go to Dubai, and I mean it would have appreciated in value. I mean that's one way some people did. I have a friend that does the same thing as well. She just buys the gold physically, and then she she resells them back to the gold buyers, really, because they wait. Because when you go to places like UAE, Dubai, and everything, when you're buying even ordinary earrings, they weigh the gold before they sell it to you, and they sell it per kg. So that's what some people tend to do, and that's what our mothers would have done. But then these days there are exchanges, like when we have the stock exchange, that actually allow you to actually trade in gold. That actually allows you to trade in gold basically. So you can do your research. I've never traded in gold through them, and there's some, but if you talk to some of your stockbrokers, they'll be able to tell you the best exchanges to actually buy gold on. One of the ones that one of my friends had told me in Ireland was this, but I have never used them before. And the thing about me is, if I've never used something before, I'm always sorry, why do I keep sending it to me? Put it out there. I never like to refer something that I've never used before, especially if I've not actually if I haven't done my research on it. Just because I've always bought and sold gold different to everyone. I just buy the gold in Dubai and UAE. I keep it for a couple of years, and then I go back and I resell to them. I remember the last one when I bought was about $20 per kg. When I was selling it last year or so, it was almost about $40 or $50 per kg. So it has appreciated over 100%, which is what I have always done. But there are exchanges out there that allows you to buy and sell gold, so you can kind of do your research. But one of the things you should do as well, and I'm going to say this to everybody, is even when you've done your due diligence and you've done your research, get somebody to look over it. Get somebody that is financially educated, or you think has that expertise really to help you have a look at it so that you don't go wrong. For me, when you asking, there's no such thing as a foolish question, and then I'd rather be safe than sorry. And even like a lot of these investment platforms, a lot of this when you're trying to invest with them, they know that people have questions. Never put your signature to anything on the spot. As in, anybody that is rushing you to put your money anywhere, you have the right to walk away. So make sure you have time to go back, read it, do your research, and use the internet to your advantage. There's so many things on YouTube, so many things on Google that would even give you an idea. And then what? Ask an expert to help you have a look and say, okay, does this make sense? Nothing is 100% foolproof, but at least if you've done your research and you can get yourself 80% or 90% there. But the truth is, there is no investment that does not have a risk of either going bad. So just bear that in mind as well. And the fact that an investment went bad shouldn't deter you from continuing to invest. Do you understand? Every success story that is out there today, every success story out there, the Warren Buffets of this world will tell you that they made bad investments. The other day, when COVID-19 started, Warren Buffett decided that he was going to dump all the stock that he has bought in airlines. Right? He said he made a mistake investing in the airline industry, and he dumped all that stock on the market, which even further brought. I know there was a brother that was saying about stock crash. Actually, further crashed the stocks of airline because Warren Buffett dumped all the stocks as well. But there is no, even successful businessmen will tell you that they got it wrong at some point in time. We all get it wrong. But the most important thing is how you use. There's a book I would recommend, whether you want to go into business, whether you're in a career, anything. It's called Failing Forward by John Maxwell. It's in life, it is how you get up from your failure that matters. So what are the lessons learned? How can you use those lessons learned to go on and become a better person? How can you use those lessons learned to go on and build a better career? How can you go on and use those lessons learned to go on and build a successful business? For every failure, there's a lesson that is meant to help you kind of get better. I always joke with the fact that when Adam and Eve failed in the Garden of Eden, God tried so many ways to kind of redeem mankind before he had to sacrifice his son. So there were so many things that God had to do before he now got to the point that, you know what, when it comes to we human beings, we're always going to fail. And then he had to sacrifice his son. So there's always that learning process. Failures are meant to teach you lessons. They're meant to be a learning process. And don't let failure, what's that word? Failure should not stop you from moving forward. It's like a child. When you're beginning to start to walk, a child falls down so many times, but a child just doesn't sit there and say, oh, because of that, I'm not going to walk. No, they keep getting up until they get better at it. For those of you that know how to ride a bicycle, how many of you fell down so many times before you became perfect at riding a bicycle? And that is how life is. And that's how life is. Obstacles are going to come, failures are going to come, but how do you get up from those failures? And that was why that scripture, where the Bible says that a righteous man will fall down 7 times, but he will do what? He will yet what? Rise again.
Any other question?
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Ma.
You're welcome, sir.
There's a chat meant for you.
Ma, sir?
I think there's a chat there for you.
Oh, yeah, I just responded to you now.
Okay.
You have the PDF copy of Failing Forward.
Yes, ma. I've already sent it to them. I'm quick. It's already in the group chat, so all they have to do is download it. I've done the hard work.
Have you?
Thank you so much, Simi. And thank you, my sis, for today.
You're welcome, sir.
Hopefully, we are looking at continuing next week. And next week, we are either to look at entrepreneurial, probably that is going to be lecture and a sort of question and answer series thereafter. Or is there any other thing you think the youth should know financially at this point?
We could do a series on how to start your business, entrepreneurship, for those that want to come. But then there's also, what I would do, sir, is I would send you I have a PDF on how to start saving and investing as well. So if you send me your email, I can send that to you, and then you can send that to them as well. and then they can come back. So it just gives you step by step the different kind of savings, different kind of investments, the rates, where to go to, and all of that as well. So I can send that to you after this. Just send me your email and I'll forward that to you as well. So Simi is saying we should do influencing, please, in the digital age.
Influencing, please, in digital age.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Simi, can you be more explicit?
I think I understand what she means, but be more explicit.
Yes, what I meant by influencing is we have a culture of influencers where you work with brands and you get paid a certain amount for advertising that brand on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. So how do we, let that become as part of our passive income?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where you begin to build your I think your personal brand equity as well. That's a lot, and that takes a lot of hard work as well. So all the whole YouTubers, so we can do I can actually get someone. Let me see if I can get someone successful influencer that can. Okay, let me talk to Pastor offline.
Okay.
Do you understand?
No problem, ma.
But that's a big one, to be honest, as well. And it's something that we could actually bring someone to come and talk to, but it's also a lot of hard work in terms of if you want to be an influencer, because you have to make sure that every day you're working on your brand equity. Do you understand? What do you want to stand for? And all of that as well becomes really, really important. People that have YouTube channels, I always say to them that they're the ones that do all the hard work, because it is not easy at all, because you have to make sure that you're putting content out there and you're consistently putting content out there even when it looks like it's not working. Do you understand? And then
Yes,
somebody
ma'am.
was explaining to me that even when, as a YouTuber, you need to know at what point that you place the adverts. You also need to make sure that you're not placing too many adverts as well, so that people don't enjoy your content and all they're looking at is adverts. But it actually takes time as well. And then you also need to find a niche that you actually want to kind of position yourself in. Do you understand? Like my boys, my twins, they used to watch, what is the boy? Ryan, for a very long time. I said, you are watching Ryan playing with toys. Every day you wake up, you're watching Ryan playing with toys. Ryan is earning over $7 million a year just to play with toys. Do you understand? All he does is play with toys, show people how to play with toys. So different, he got very successful. I think there was a particular toy and Walmart picked it up, and that was how it became very successful. So with influencers as well, in terms of doing brand influencing, sometimes it is just that one thing that you do. But if you want to be a very successful brand influencer as well, you need to begin to study digital marketing and what makes a successful digital marketer. Do you understand? What are the things? So begin to understand how digital marketing actually works. So which is all this kind of hard work, education, research that I'm talking about. Nothing happens by chance. Do you understand? And I'm sure sometimes when you see all these influencers, you think what they're doing doesn't make sense. No, there's a science to it. Do you understand? There's actually a science to it. A lot of them study digital marketing. A lot of them study because when it comes to marketing, there's always an emotional aspect of it. So a lot of them study how to connect emotionally with their customers, emotionally with their clients. Do you understand? So it's not just that. So that's what I was talking about. Even when we're talking about investments, we're talking about ethical investments, social impact investment. So a lot of them as well, those are the kind of things that they actually begin to do. For some people, I went to an event the other day, and there's this lady. She has a very successful tanning range and some beauty products, Sosumi. And she said when she started, all she was she was a blogger, and she used to blog about different products, about makeup. I use this, I use that, and everything. And Sosumi has become very, very. So you see our products in a lot of the. Oh, I sent it to Pastor. Pastor.
Don't worry. Put it there.
Yeah. So Sumi, she's in Ireland. She's a very successful brand influencer, and she's used that to actually sell to develop a lot of makeup products as well. Do you understand? So how did she start? She said she used to blog, and she said she worked as a receptionist. She worked for as a recruiter, and they made them redundant one day, and she just decided. Do you understand? But she had gone to beauty school. You understand? She had actually gone. She said she had gone to beauty school. She said she was very bad academically, but she had told her parents that she wanted to go to beauty school. She wanted to learn how to do hair. And then when she started working at the salon, she was like, for how long is she going to work at the salon before she begins to make money? But she had those soft skills. So she started working in the bank, and then she worked in recruitment. And then when they made her redundant, she was like, okay, what can I do? And then she started blogging. Do you understand? But all of her training, all her soft skills, our beauty school that she went to, now what became, and then as a recruiter, she said as a recruiter, you had to be able to market the candidate and also market the client. Do you understand? So there were two things that you're marketing. You're marketing the candidate and you're marketing the client, and you're cold calling sometimes. Those are the skills that she now brought into becoming a successful blogger. She understood marketing. And the fact that she understood marketing was one of the key things that made her succeed as a blogger, as opposed to somebody that just starts blogging for the sake of blogging. So there's all of that as well. So when you if you want to become a brand influencer, study the lives of successful influencers and what they've done. There's a science to their mad, I like to call it madness, to what they do. They don't just wake up and do it. And that's the problem with a lot of us. We see a lot of them being successful and we just wake up and say we want to do it. It's more than just putting content out there. There's all of that study that they do privately to get to understand marketing, to get to understand connecting, because what you're doing is connecting with the audience. Do you understand? And then to become a brand influencer as well is finding a niche. You understand? What's that niche? What is that thing that is missing? What should I connect with? There's something I came across I think to me you might like it. Magnify. Let me look for it. I'm following them on Instagram. They are an influencer in the UK. They actually have a magazine. I found them recently.
Is it Black Ballad UK?
No, I think it's called Magnify. What's it called? Okay, Magnify Collective. So look for them on Instagram. Magnify Collective. So then you have to decide what kind of brand influencer you want to be as well. And then decide who your target customers are. So it's almost like starting a business as well. So you define your target market, define what kind of brand influencer you want to be. What are the things that your target markets they like? How do I connect with my target market? What are the kind of things that resonates with my target market? You understand? All of that is what you now need to sit down and start doing. So there's no shortcut to it. It's actually coming up with a plan. It's almost like starting a startup in its own. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I sent you the email, sir.
Oh, thank you so much. So when do we get back to you to know if you'll be able to bring on the other person?
For the influencing, let me talk to the person.
Okay.
And then I will get back to you.
Okay.
As well, because I know she just had a baby. I just want to see what her schedule is like as well with the baby and everything. Then I'll see who else. Actually, I think I know somebody that I can. Yeah, just leave it with me.
Okay.
Maybe somebody in Nigeria that I can pull in as well. So.
Okay, that'll be okay. Thank you so much. So we can roll out the banner
for entrepreneurship.
Do we do entrepreneurship next week or together with the influencer?
Yeah. No, let's do the entrepreneurship first, because influencer I need to confirm with them and also confirm their calendar and see.
Okay, so next week, by the grace of God, we are moving on to entrepreneurship, right?
Yeah, by God's grace, yeah.
The youth in the house, can you please help me to appreciate Sister Dola for all Sanusi?
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Thank you much.
So next week, by the grace of God, we meet. And before she goes, who is going to just pray for us as we bring this to a close for this week? Can somebody unmute himself or herself and pray for us? Is Isaac there? Sorry, not Isaac. Easy. Is Easy there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you just please pray for us as we bring this to a close? Thank you.
Father, Lord, we thank you for bringing us here together. We thank you for the platform that you've allowed us to be able to communicate through. We thank you for everything that she has blessed us with today, Father. We pray that as we have learned today, we will begin to apply into our lives all the things that we've learned in Jesus' name. I pray that as we go through our week, you will follow us and we shall not be alone. And I pray that you will order our steps in Jesus' mighty name. We have prayed.
Thank you so much, Sister Dolapo. God bless you, real good in Jesus' mighty name.
And you're welcome, sir.
Appreciate it. Have a wonderful and a blessed week in Jesus' name.